We want to get to know who you are, right? Now, first of all, I'm Rabbit Jones. This is my partner here, number one soul, brother. Just in case you ain't know. We just want to get to know the person first, right? So I'm a real big person on being as a teenager, knowing who you are and what you want to do then at 15, 16 years old. So I want to know, who was VJ Johnson at 15, 16 years old? What was in your mind? What was your vision? Can we look through your eyes and picture what you was thinking?
Man, sheesh. At 15, I probably was just a regular local DC Joker. I did play ball in high school, so sports was very important to me. I played football at Phelps, and that was life saving for me. I think like most cats that I ran with, that I grew up with, we're DC first. So as a teenager, I was in Southeast, and just a product of the environment. You do what your environment dictates you do, right? Until you're not there anymore. Football kept me. It was life changing for me. I had a team, really dope coaches, really good people that invested in my ability to play the game, man. Play at DCPS, and I had an opportunity to play college ball, so that was pretty cool, man.
Just want to get a vision of what was your thought processes when you was in teenager age. You know what I'm saying? What was you doing? What was your thinking? Was it to be a congressman? Was it to be a mayor? Was it to be the president?
No, not at all. In fact, if I could think, I didn't have a thought about what my future would be like. And it's nowhere at 15 I could see myself being here. In fact, it's not even really until a few years ago that I actually could vision myself doing what I'm doing and headed to where I'm headed. But at 15, man, like everybody else, man, hanging out with the homies and chasing girls, man. Moving through the streets and trying to stay out the way.
We're here, and I appreciate you coming on tonight. And like I said, I feel you on that. At 15, myself, I was on some other stuff too. But when was it that you decided, you say, to get into politics and, I'm going to try to do something for the people in Southeast and the people in the city in general? And what made you want to take that leap?
We picked up these petitions on January 12th, 2024. I think it's been a natural progression, man. Faith is very important to me. I am a Christian, and I think I've sort of slowly over time come to accept my purpose in life as a servant. Man, look, I came back from college and I started teaching, man. If y'all local, my first school was Anacostia. And I felt real connected to the kids. My uncle went to Anacostia. My dad went to Easton. My mom went to Cardoza. And so, I really felt like I was doing something. I felt like I was giving back. I felt like I had escaped. I had a teacher impact me in a way that allowed me to go to college. So, that right there was just service. I thought I was doing something by teaching young people about government through social studies. But it's been a natural progression, man. We on this campaign, the team, we got this thing called the origin story. And while I was in the classroom, we were organizing young people in the neighborhood off of Minnesota Avenue. And I took an issue with trash, man. And I didn't like cats, leaving liquor bottles out front of the house and, all that. I live behind a liquor store, and what come with that, man.
Yeah.
So I just was like, I didn't feel like I wanted to live like that. I'm still Southeast, and I just figured, the one thing I could do is pick up the trash in front of my house. And then it grew from there, man. A couple youngins in the neighborhood, I started helping them. You know, we started picking up trash, mentoring, giving advice, because teenagers at that time was where I was. I was high school, right? So I was real connected to that population. I wasn't that much older at that time. So it was just an easy connection for me to move young people. I just came from that environment, understand the difference between, the 5 years of before and the 5 years in college. So I wasn't too far removed. So I was just like easy. It was easy for me to connect with them and, be something different for them.
Now, I'm born and raised in DC. It's not even a part of DC I haven't lived at. But I want to point out a certain spots. Now, Anacostia lived around there. Lived in Raleigh Street. And my grandmother.
That's Ward 8. That's Ward 8 off of MLK.
Yeah, that's basically what you're saying. That's about as gut as you can get. Then my brother and my little sister graduated from Eastern. I went to McKinney Tech though. Got thrown out of there. But growing up, like everybody had their decisions. Like, and when everybody be like, the neighborhood is poor, they don't want to go there. To me, the people living there want out too. It's not just like people are living in these situations and this is where they want to be. You feel me?
I feel you.
So I want to ask you, like, now, to me, like I sold drugs coming out. I sold drugs for a living. I ain't even go to school. That wasn't my thing. But I did sell drugs, right? And did things out in the streets that was not conducive to my community, right? But at the same time, I take responsibility to that and say that was a choice I made, because I don't feel like just because your atmosphere is what it is, you have to do it. It's a choice you made. I made that choice. So I can just take whatever comes with it. You feel me? Well, my question to you is, what do you have as far as gun violence and the youth coming up in DC areas right now, as far as recreations, outlets for them to have besides making that choice?
Loaded, man. That's real loaded. Let's talk about choices, right? Because everything in what you're saying is choices, recreational opportunity, gun laws, prevention, intervention, right? So it's a lot there. And you got to think about mindsets, right? So at 13, 14, 15, what's your value, right? What is your value at 13, 14, 15? You don't really have no value for much. And if you've been starved most of your life because of your circumstances, your neighborhood, your parents' situation, if you got parents, you're looking at life real different, right? And you may be looking at life like you don't have no hope, like it's nothing for you, but what's in front of you, right? So I think I've experienced some of that. I actually know what that mindset is. And I look back on the younger me, and sometimes I'm disappointed about the younger person. Sometimes I get frustrated, because you got to think about who were the adults in your life that allow for you to be in that situation for whatever reason or not. So as a young person, you don't have no resources. You're trying to figure out life. You're a big ball of emotions. And then you're just in an environment, that tells you like you ain't worth much, right? So then you got to just deal with the day-to-day of surviving and trying to figure it out for yourself. We got to change that reality. And you got to start investing in young people, showing them that you care, demonstrating love, and just dealing with, some of the difficulties and the attitudes or the hard-headedness. You got to just press through it. You just got to be consistent. And I think with me on Nelson Place, on 2900 block of Nelson Place behind O'Connor's liquor store, the kids just got used to me being consistent. You know what I'm saying? Like one of the things, I remember a young lady named Ebony, she went to Anacostia, and she used to say, "Mr. Johnson, you'll never have no curtains on your window." And I was like, yeah, I ain't got nothing to hide, right? But they would pay attention. They would watch what I do, and just being consistent and being a resource. but they had all kinds of life situations. I got one kid, a mentor, Khalid. He come home this summer, but he's been in for a minute. I got another kid, Chris. He's working for the mayor now, right? So two examples of two young Black boys. One is in jail, right? And one touched the streets and had some problems with the street, but course corrected, and now he's working for the mayor of the District of Columbia. And I talked to Khalid's dad, stepdad, and his mom. He's changed inside the box, right? Like he has matured inside the box. And he's like, that's not for him no more. So when he comes home, he's going to be able to come home to Mr. Johnson and get plugged into resources, opportunities, right? And maybe he can go do what Chris, I don't know. But, I see it. And that's just looking at other young people. That's not even looking at me, right? Because my transformation, like I told you, was tied to football and one teacher in 11th grade thinking I was worth something, right? And a whole team of coaches, right? Black men coaches who had a purpose in their mind that they not only was going to cultivate us to be great athletes and football players, but they wanted us to grow up and be men. And even then, bro, I still was messing up, right? Messed up in college, messed up after college, right? So just because you got redirected, it still don't mean you're going to figure it out, because the life we come from ain't the life that I live in.
Back off of that. I got a nephew who's in the hospital recovering right now. He was shot. He was shot in the head on that snow day back in January, right there on 16th and A in Southeast, right there by RFK. And I'm 53 years old, so I grew up in that time where the city was off the hook. The suburbs, everywhere in this area, the DMV area as we call it now, was off the hook. But I want to know, what can we do, or what kind of programs, or what we can do to get some of these guns and some of these kids off the streets and into something, so they won't be out here doing the things that they're doing. The carjackings is off the hook. They robbing people right and left. They shooting and killing each other, and it's like 1980, like the late 80s, early 90s all over again.
Think about who you might have been at 13, 14, 15. I'm gonna tell you who I was at 13, 14, 15. Right? I had a gun. I had a gun at 14, right? Mm-hmm. And so thinking about, how did I get a gun at 14? Like, how did I get a gun at 14? And what was my thinking that I wanted a gun and I carried a gun? Like, what was going on at that time in the hands of these young people in the first place? So that's one thing, right?
Yeah.
Who's responsible for putting guns on the street that a 13, 14-year-old can get? And then secondly, individual choice, personal accountability. What mindset do you have to have as a 13, 14-year-old to feel that you want a gun for protection, for security, for clout, right? Or for harm, right?
All of the above.
Right. Now, if you're thinking about that young person, right? And this is where I find, polarizing. Is that a young person that's going to go to a program at DC Parks and Rec? Now, it wasn't to I went to jail for what I was doing, that it gave me an opportunity to kind of think differently, right? And got into some diversion programs, right? So I see opportunity for some of these young people who get in trouble to redirect them. But here, when you peel it back, if you get from zero to 5, that's some adult's responsibility, right? When you get to 5, you're in school. So you got kindergarten to 12th grade, or you got kindergarten to maybe the 6th, 7th, 8th grade. You telling me we can't get these young people a year or 2 years of caring adults to help them feel good about themselves and to help them think about life differently, right? Like, so there's a lot of stuff going on before we get there, right? So We got to figure out why these guns on the street, how to get these guns off the street. But moreover, the thing that we can control is how we showing up for kindergartners to sixth graders, right? I work with fourth through eighth graders. I do a chess program. We just did a drone program. And granted, the kids that I'm working with, some of them are knuckleheads, but most of them, you could tell they got parent structure with them, right? Well, when I look at who shows up to the after school programs, it ain't nobody with a gun. It ain't nobody. It's the young people that we got to love on. We got to pour resources at. And we got to steer them and keep them from going over here with them youngest at with the guns, right?
Yeah, because I feel you on that. Because myself, you know, I don't make no bones about it on here. I was sat down myself. That's what changed. That's what changed me and changed my line of thinking. I got sat down, and you know, I think that we need to, like you were saying, we need to catch them. You know, we need to try to catch them before the streets get them, and that, I guess, that starts at an earlier age, and like you were saying, to get them into things like football or maybe boxing and stuff like that.
That's what I was going to suggest, right? Like run, just in case you were to win, some suggestions, right? You incentivize the kids for, if they was to join a recreation school in their area and accomplish anything, playing basketball, football, or something like that, incentivize that kid. You know what I'm saying? Find some ways to incentivize the mother or something. That's another thing.
Go there. Stay right where you are.
Go ahead.
Incentivize the adult caregiver. Incentivize, because the child is the victim of the environment, right? The child don't like this fact. It was the first junior high school integrated in the country, I think, in the District of Columbia in 1954. So it's a historical landmark, but it's supposed to have 850 students, and it has 4 elementary schools that feed into it. Only 220 some students go there. So the building is not even full, right? It's not even meeting its potential. And I have this big, bold idea where I say, well, why not use a portion of the building to put programming in for the parents or the caregivers? So as you take your kid to school, right, you can now access a resource, get your GED or get some skills development, or meet with some recruiters for a job.
Exactly. That's what I mean.
Every parent ain't a hood parent. I don't even want to say that, because some parents work 2 jobs and they single and they just ain't home to take care of the kids because they try to make ends meet because rent too high, right?
Exactly. You can incentivize them too by giving them a chance to elevate their education too.
Right.
So they get better jobs. They don't have to work too like that.
So we make schools community hubs. We invest in the schools, not just academically.
Good idea.
Stabilize the whole family. Shit out of a baby, 2, 3, 4, 5 years old, because they grabbing candy on the way out of the line, and the mom or the dad frustrated with that child, and they smack that child or they yell at that child right there. Now that's one 5-minute interaction of that child's life. Mm-hmm. If that parent or that adult or that caregiver can do that out of frustration in the grocery store while you watching, what you think happening to that kid when they get home?
Exactly.
You're so right.
And so when they get out in the street at 11, 12, 13, and they got that thing in their hand, man, look, they not taking no mess off of nobody.
Exactly. So I think we both, that's a good idea right there, where you got to incentivize the parents too. Give them some reasons to not just, because some of these parents are just, like you're saying, working 2 jobs and you're single. Then there's some parents that are just there, just not really caring. If you could just incentivize them to do something to take care of the child or get up and get them in school or something like that to prosper the family, that helps.
Yeah. When I was the director of student support services at Community College Preparatory Academy, which is a charter school for adult learners founded by this phenomenal Black woman from Ward 7, grew up in Deanwood, Miss Connie Spinner, and she was a school teacher, right? She was like, man, she had this big, bold vision of, you know what, y'all deal with the schools. I'm gonna catch them when they graduate, or when they drop out, or when they get to life, right? Because she had a theory that when life get their hands on you, right? When life gets its hands on you, it's gonna help you out. It's gonna knock you out, or it's gonna help you out, right? Life has a way of shaping your perspective. So we would get all these adult learners in, some reading at the 4th grade level, some reading at the 11th grade level, some just want to get a trade and work on HVAC, some want to be A plus, right? So we got a whole bunch of adults with a whole bunch of life experience, and they all come back and was like, yo, I should have made good on the opportunity when it was presented to me up front, but they didn't. And that was the commonality. They had a second chance.
Exactly.
Right? And I go back to the model with Sousa. Why not put something like that in the school, right?
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
that'll be
life will humble you. Life will get your mind right? And what is not happening in our society is that we're not holding people accountable for their bad behaviors. At all levels. We got a Donald Trump. I know y'all be going in on him, but look at that. You got
something like that.
You got the president, the former president of the United States is wow. You know what I'm saying? It's just he ducking consequence. He got people raising money. So the man owed $500 million, man, in trying to stay out of jail. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So you got the president of the United States ducking consequence and ducking accountability. We got to hold people accountable, man. You got
a big problem with this is people got guns in their houses and they not securing the guns. They ain't keeping them in a safe or a lock box or got locks on the guns or whatever.
Yeah.
And
some people that shouldn't have guns, period. And then they got kids around or youngins around who running the streets or influenced by what they see in movies and TV or whatever, and they got access to these guns. And at some point, you're gonna have to come back on the adults and with some kind of consequences for leaving these guns around these kids for these kids to get.
Exactly. Food, like you just touched on when the grocery store, right?
Yeah.
We talk about the food that's coming in Ward 7, all of DC, really. I want you to tell me, first of all, we all know the food that we have in our city is about the basic below level trash that you can have, right? Just the food that in our grocery stores is trash compared to if you go somewhere else. So you personally, is this something you thought of, or do you have a plan for that, or do you have any ideas on getting better food, healthier food in our communities?
Yeah, I'm gonna put another article in the chat for y'all, man. I want y'all to check out my website, and I'm gonna put that in there too. So let me dive deep a little bit. Just go with me real quick because I want to talk about something that we don't talk about, and that's the dietary habits of Black folks, right? Africa. I got a chance to go to Nigeria and Ghana, and so my perspective on food changed after that experience. And when we look at, because you all talk about a lot of deep, dope cultural and historical things with oppression and how Black people are responding to the country and racism and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. But we celebrate, and I was watching something earlier about with Steve Harvey and the Hoodie Awards, right? So we celebrate soul food. I ain't hear that. Don't shoot me. I understand that soul food is also slave food, right? So when you think about what Black people was able to do culturally with food, when the master and the slave owners would give them scraps, when they would just figure out how to make food work and delicious, right? That's part of our culture, right? The food that came from the Caribbean, the food that came from different parts of Africa, right? We took that and we made it work when they gave us nothing, right?
Exactly.
But where we are now, and in the way that the government has allowed corporations to experiment with food. Like you can get cloned meat now. You can get food with GMOs in it, right? Genetically modified organisms. So we also understand if you go to the FDA's website, they tell you what food to eat and what food not to eat, right?
Exactly.
And we got to stop it. We spend our time at McDonald's. We spend our time in the car. Because I'll end up at Eddie Leonard's on Alabama Avenue or something nostalgic, right? Just to say, man, I wanted to get me some wings and fried rice.
Yeah.
Right? And,
I was just up there today.
I put a couple articles in there. And one is about the food desert, bodegas in the corner store. But the way we shop as a Black community is every 2 weeks, every payday. And I don't know Black folks that ain't got a deep freezer in their house, right? So the way we buy food, the way we think about eating foods, every 2 weeks, we get the meats, we put them in the freezer, and we get the things that are quick and convenient for us to eat, right?
That's true.
Canned goods, high in sodium, right? Now, when you look at what you're talking about, how these grocery stores like the Safeways and all these other stores, they have
the corner stores terrible.
Yeah, they have terrible in our communities. But when you look at other communities, and we could just say Ward 6, you got the Whole Foods, you got the Harris Teeter, you got the Trader Joe's. Well, those people over there got a different way of eating. They got a different way of buying food.
Exactly.
So to change the environment and to try to get laws passed and funded that will make new normals for people in their dietary habits, make new normals for how we stabilize our family and love our kids and invest in our parents. We can legislate new normals for crime prevention and intervention, but we also got to put that big hand down when someone's out here wilding out in these streets.
On your website, and you basically
website VJforward7.com, VJforward7.com, VJFORWARD7.com. Tell me what you think about that website. Look, team, it's impressive to me. I like it, man.
Hey, your website is tight and it's informative, because what you was just talking about with the food and everything, that's basically was under your healthcare platform, which was promoting health and wellness programs and advocating for policies that address health disparities within the community. And that food thing is one of the problems, getting the good stuff, getting the good stuff to the people, who really need it and should have it, because it shouldn't be no disparities.
With the economic power. So when I take my vote and my dollar, now you leveling up, because a politician and a business, I got $1. So the business, I got $1, politician, I got a vote. I need y'all to work for me now. And that's what other communities know. They know about the vote and they know about the dollar, right? And so we're getting there. We understand the vote and we're learning about the dollar, right? And we'll get there. You know what I'm saying? And that's what we need to continue to do with platforms like yours that are raw, that are real, that are authentic, that help people come to this place of political and community involvement without all the yuckity muck, without all the pageantry, and without all the BS, right? Like, yeah. I'm allowed to be D Street, right? Exactly. Like I'm in Simple City, right? I can do it in a different way, And so platforms like yours allow all people to get the information that they need to enhance the quality of life and prosperity that they choose to. And that's what we're doing, man. We are making Ward 7 by building bridges and connecting people to what they need and want, so they can access to new opportunities for engagement. We do a lot, man. We outside, man. We outside. We out here with the people, and we doing everything we can do is to keep people in the know.
That's what's up, man. Appreciate you stopping past, man.
Right. And for y'all that's listening, that's VJforward7.com. Y'all go and check this brother's site out. It's very informative and it's tight. And we wish you the best of luck in your campaign,
Good
brother.
luck, player. For
I mean,
sure.
hey, look, when we win, I'll come back and whatever I can do to help you all do what you doing. But keep doing what you're doing because I got a feeling, man, y'all blessing people out here.
I appreciate you a whole lot, bro, for sure.